Good day. It's a new day of learning. I am Hermoso, and together with me are my colleagues.
I am Darcy Mark Sierte.
And I am Muhammad Khalid Barra.
Today, we will tackle another topic in facilitating learner-centered teaching. To start with, Darcy will tell you about our learning objectives in this session.
Our learning objectives are, at the end of the lesson, you will be able to first, define motivation and its two types, and second, identify the 5 theories of motivation.
Who pushes you to study amidst the pandemic? Is it your own inner drive because you want to succeed in life, or are your parents who wanted you to be successful? If your answer is in any of the two options, I will tell you that either of them is considered as your motivation.
What do we mean by motivation? We often hear this term, but sometimes we are not sure of what it really implies. According to Petri 2020, that motivation came from the Latin word motivus, which means a moving cause, which implied an activating properties of the processes involved in psychological motivation. Moreover, motivation refers to the internal and environmental elements that motivates us to accomplish something, and it is the state of mind that seeks to improve ourselves or the world around us. Having said this, there are two types of motivation: intrinsic and extrinsic motivation.
Intrinsic motivation comes from internal factors to meet personal needs. We do it because we enjoy it, and not because we have to. You're intrinsically motivated if you enjoy an interest, a course of a study, or a skill development for educational fulfillment and having fun. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation comes from external factors that are given or controlled by others and can be found everywhere and often used by society. You're extrinsically motivated when you perform, achieve, learn, or do something based on highly considered outcome, rather than for fun, personal fulfillment, or development.
And now, we will discuss the 5 theories of motivation. The first one is the attribution theory. This theory asserts that an individual's success or failure is attributed to other factors. When we say attribution, it is the process of explaining one's behavior and the behavior of others. For example, John attributed his failed test to his friend who convinced him to go to the party. In this theory, there are 3 elements, namely locus, stability, and controllability. Locus is regarded as the location or cause of performance or the behavior. It is divided into 2 types, the internal locus and the external locus. Internal locus is within us, which can be controlled and is high in motivation. For instance, a student traces his good grades to his ability and hard work. On the other hand, external locus is outside of us and cannot be controlled all the time. For example, a student claims that his good grades are due to the effective teaching of the teacher. The second element is stability. This refers to the degree of which the cause can change. It is also divided into 2 types, namely the stable and the unstable. It is stable if it doesn't change. For example, you attribute your poor performance to what you have inherited from your parents. It cannot be changed because it is already in your genes. and unstable has possibilities to be changed. For example, you attribute your poor performance to excessive watching of K-drama. It can be changed because you have the freedom to prolong or shorten the time in doing so. And the last element is controllability. This refers to the degree to which the individual can affect change, and is also divided into two types: the controllable and the uncontrollable. Controllable means what you do affects the outcome and is high in motivation. For example, student A claims that his poor performance is due to his poor study habits. This is controllable because the learner's study habits are much of his control. On the other hand, uncontrollable means what you do has no impact. For example, student B claims that his poor performance is due to the ineffective teaching strategies of the teacher. This situation is beyond the control of the student.
The second theory of motivation is the self-efficacy theory. According to Lucas and Corpus in 2020, self-efficacy is a belief that one can perform a task, fulfill role expectations, or meet a challenging situation carefully. Thus, a person who has a high sense of self-efficacy means has a high sense of competence. Social cognitive theories identified several self-efficacy enhancing strategies, and these are as follows. A. Make sure students master the basic skills. Mastery of basic skills like reading and writing, arithmetic will enable the child to tackle higher level activities. B. Help them make a noticeable progress on difficult tasks. When you are climbing a mountain and don't feel like you are making any progress, you prefer to give up. This is why it is beneficial that you are aided in seeing progress while working on your challenging activities. C. Communicate confidence in students' abilities through words and actions. Exude confidence that your students in all of their abilities will be able to complete the learning activity with this. Words such as "you can do it" or "trust in your abilities." D. Expose them to successful peers. Your students will inhale achievement and become energized to achieve success as well if they are surrounded by successful
The
peers.
third theory is self-determination and self-regulation theories. According to Cherry 2021, self-determination refers to an important concept of each person's ability to make choices and manage their own life. On the other hand, self-regulation refers to a person's ability to master himself. This is the "I am the captain of my soul" type of person. What are the indicators of self-regulation? According to Omrod 2004, a self-regulated individual can A. Set standard for oneself, B. Monitor and evaluate one's behavior against such standards, and lastly, letter C. Impose consequences on oneself for one's success or failure. It's worth noting that a student who can self-regulate is more likely to be genuinely driven since he set goals and standards, tracks his progress, and evaluates his performance. According to Omrod 2004, that there are 6 processes involved in self-regulated, and these are as follows. First is goal setting. When they read or study, self-regulated learners have a clear goal in mind. Second is planning. Self-regulated students plan ahead of time how they will best utilize the time they have available for learning. Next is attention control. Self-regulatory students try to concentrate on the task at hand and cleanse their mind from distracting ideas and emotions. Fourth is application of learning strategies. Depending on the exact goal they want to achieve, self-regulated students adopt alternative learning methodologies. Next is self-monitoring. Self-regulated learners keep track of their progress towards their objectives and adjust their learning tactics or goals as needed. And last is self-evaluation. Self-regulated learners determine whether that they've learned and is adequate for the objectives they've set.
The fourth theory is the choice theory. Zolyu 2007 stated that choice theory is a biological theory that suggests that we are born with specific needs that we are genetically instructed to satisfy. Thus, as follows are the four basic psychological needs of humans that must be satisfied to be emotionally healthy. Number 1, belonging or connecting. We build relationships and collaborate with others because we need to belong or connect. Number 2, power or competence. Power is achieved via expertise, achievement, and mastery, not just a desire to dominate. Number 3, freedom. Humans are also driven by the need to be able to choose what we want. And lastly, fun. Another common human incentive is that when we learn something new, we have enjoyed it.
The last theory is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This theory has 5 levels of human needs, namely physiological needs, which includes food, water, shelter. Safety needs focuses on human security. Love and belongingness deal with intimate relationships. Self-esteem is our feeling of prestige and accomplishment. And lastly, the self-actualization, which is the highest and can be only attained if the person already achieved his full potential. The theory asserts that before a student can focus on meeting his or her higher order wants, he or she must first meet his or her lower order needs.
On this part, we'll be checking your understanding of what you have learned on this topic. Are you ready? For the first question, it refers to the inner drive that causes us to do something and persevere at something. A. Motivation. B. Ability. C. Confidence. D. Intelligence. 3, 2, 1. The right answer is letter A, motivation. Number 2. In what type of motivation does practicing tennis for fun belong? A. Extrinsic motivation. B. Intrinsic motivation. C. Somewhat external motivation. D. Somewhat internal motivation. In 3, 2, 1. B. Intrinsic motivation. Number 3. This theory explains that our success or failure is attributed to other factors. A. Choice theory. B. Attributive theory. C. Attribution theory. D. Self-efficacy theory. 3, 2, 1. Letter C. Attribution theory. Number 4. Which of the following does not belong to the 4 basic psychological needs of human being to become emotionally healthy? A. Belonging or connecting. B. Freedom. C. Fun. D. Time. And 3, 2, 1. Letter D. Time. 5. According to this theory, students' lower needs must be satisfied first before they can work for the satisfaction of his or her higher order needs. Letter A. Self-determination and self-regulation theories. B. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. C. Self-efficacy theory. D. Choice theory. And 3, 2, 1. B. Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Thank you very much for listening to our discussion about motivation.
And we hope that you have learned something from this video.
And once again, I am Teacher Darcy.
I am Teacher Khalil.
And Teacher Ellen. And these are our references.